Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and this will be a short one, but I did want to do a quick video. So I'm sure everybody's familiar with Warhammer Skirmish. It came out recently, and it's all about, fun, small, warband size fighting in the Mortal Realms, and it's nice because it's a very low barrier to entry, and it allows people to collect a relatively small group of models, get them painted, and get playing, and basically, get into the game. It's a nice gateway. And when I read it, I was happy with what was there, but I thought it wasn't as deep of an experience as I like, or as I was hoping for. But that's okay. I'm not upset about that. It just means there's a wonderful opportunity, because what they gave us here with Skirmish is a great foundation, and my thought was, let's build some rules on top of that. So Tom and I got together, and we've been working on some rules, and yeah, I'd like to kind of talk about what our goals are in this, just introduce you to the idea that this is coming, but in advancement of us putting out the formal rules here in the next couple weeks. So let's kind of get into it. So I wanted to first talk about inspiration and goals. I've been a fan of Mordheim since its original release back in 1999. I love this game. I think it's one of the best designed games of all time. I have a very old video where I defend that point of view. But I really do believe in it and think it's literally one of the best games of all time, for a bunch of different reasons. But, so Mordheim was certainly a big inspiration on what I wanted to see Skirmish be able to achieve. But of course, then you've also got something like Hinterlands, which has come out much more recently. Bottle, Sam, Bottle on TGA, did some amazing work with Hinterlands, and reading through that is certainly a lot of inspiration. I think we're all really impressed by the fantastic work that he did on Hinterlands. And so as I've looked across, and there's a bunch of other Skirmish games I've played, other Skirmish games outside of Warhammer in the intervening years, and I thought, well, what do I want to see added to this? Because again, I really liked Warhammer Skirmish. I thought it was a very nice foundation, but I think there's a lot more. And so what do I want to, what is Tom and I's goal that we're trying to add to the game of Skirmish? Well, it's the following. So we're going to talk about the ability to gain and lose things, and have injury and death. So in its current setting, you more or less only get better. It's all growth. And that's great for new players because it encourages them to slowly build up their army to add additional figs or boxes. No problem with that. I don't have any issue with that mode of play. But for those of us who have big, large collections and don't need that encouragement to go buy new figs, it can also be nice to create the story of having figs get lost or die, warbands go up and down in their health, to have permanent injuries. There's nothing better than your awesome general who's got the missing eye, right? I mean, that's what it is. He becomes an eye patch badass. So there you go. In addition, I wanted to expand out campaign play. They have a very nice, straightforward campaign in the core book, in the Skirmish book. It's like a 6-scenario thing. But I wanted to really bring in the RPG elements that make it a true campaign. I think injury has to do with that, but I also think exploration has to do with that kind of thing. And that leads me directly to the next bullet point, which is exploration. I think a big part of what was previously Mordheim, and certainly what seems to be in the underlying story of Skirmish in the city of Shadespire, is that the backstory of the city of Shadespire is that basically it's sort of a Icarus type of story, right? Or maybe Aphrodite. It's as I mentioned in a previous, defining the nature of the type of fantasy that is Age of Sigmar. It's very, very deeply rooted in sort of Greek myth, so you can pick a bunch of different stories. But the long story short is that these kings got really powerful and discovered things and methods, and extended their lives beyond what the gods had ever intended, and Nagash got angry at them and came in, and in a single day of a night of terror killed everybody in the town, which means that the vast riches of this incredible town are still there to be looted and plundered, right? Which is a great idea. I love it. Yes, perfect. But now we need to make it real through, a little more exploration than I think just what the base Skirmish provides. It gives you a little, But I like a more narrative connection to my exploration. Where was I in the city? What did I find? What does that, have narrative? Again, those sort of RPG elements to it. The other RPG element that I think is important for like campaign play and making that a more immersive experience is advancement, skills, and treasure. All these things are kind of lumped into a single table in Skirmish, which again is perfect for your new player because they can get up, they can get going, their dudes get better. It all makes sense. But I like a little more variance, a little more depth to it, and so we were kind of taking all of these out and breaking them out individually, allowing us to advance your heroes, your troops, etc. Right, and to find cool, unique things in the world. Another big one for me is multiplayer friendly. Certainly the base game can be used with like the Triumph and Treachery rules in the General's Handbook and that kind of thing, but I want to explicitly add in more multiplayer scenarios that assume there will be, 2, 3, 4, 5 players, because those kinds of big showdowns in the city were always what I enjoyed the most in Wartime, and I think where the game really shined, and so we're gonna make sure that's an option. Okay. Additional scenarios, I kind of just mentioned it. It's not all just about the multiplayer. It's also about scenarios that are rooted in the Shadespire experience and making sure that there are things that connect to what you're doing. And I will say, the base game actually did a really nice job of this. I like the 6 scenarios that are in the base book. But of course, my favorite thing, the thing I was always digging for with Mordheim was more scenarios, right? Because you want more. You want to be able to play through more things with your warbands. So, to me, this is just sort of the necessary evil. You've got to have a huge number of scenarios, because these games are relatively fast, right? And you don't want to just keep playing the same scenario 5 times, 10 times, 20 times in a row. So the more of them you got, the more there is for you, the player, to explore, which is also nice. And then finally, additional heroes. And what I mean by this is the base rules as they're sort of set are that you have one hero, which I don't have a large problem with. It just means that that one hero is very susceptible to getting sort of killed during the game, and then you're hero-less, and everything kind of falls apart. So, it sort of creates an incentive where you really want to have a very tough hero, and you don't want your general to get into combat, because if you do, then you can just lose, which is kind of unfortunate. You've got to be careful with rules like that, because you create secondary incentives that will make people play in very different ways. So people who are sort of very laissez-faire or avant-garde will just push their hero forward and then die and keep having bad experiences, and they won't know why. They're like, but I feel like I'm playing how the game is designed to play, whereas the person who's very sensitive to incentives will hold their hero back, protect them, make sure they can't get shot, and then they tend to win, but they're not playing in the exciting style that the game seems to be designed to want to play in. And this was one of the only weaknesses of Mordheim, was how it interacted with heroes and generals and shooting, stuff like that. So one of the ways we can deal with that is we can have additional heroes that can pick up the slack and things like that. So we're also looking at that, and also additional heroes don't greatly expand warband size, right? We can keep warband size mostly the same and just change the mix, so you got a couple extra heroes in the mix, and suddenly we're still keeping it low model count friendly, right? Which I think is important. It's got to stay low model count. No part of what I want to do is change the model count. All of these games that are my inspiration and that I've played all run about the same number of models. It's usually somewhere in the 5 to 20 model range. That's a good number. I like that number. Let's keep that number. That's what I'm looking for here. So, there you go. That's what we're looking to do out of this. As I said, right now we have a draft set internally that we are just putting some finishing touches on. So we're going to put that out in the next couple of weeks, depending on how we have time to work on it. But the reason I wanted to set all this up is because I wanted to set the expectation in advance that we want you. When I release that, I will make a video detailing it and kind of walking through it. Tom and I will probably do a video announcement of it, but that'll be long and talky. And so I wanted to put this shorter video out to say that when we release this, we would love to put these out. It won't be a flashy finished copy. It'll probably be a very simple PDF because we want feedback. As we give it out, we'd love it if you play it, give it a chance, use it with your skirmish rules, etc. Most of what we're doing will be pretty modular. You don't have to use all of it. You can pick a couple elements that you like and just drop them in, and that's all fine. So that's always the goal. And we would love, love, love feedback as we do that. So look for that to come out. Look forward to your feedback. If you have any thoughts right now based on what I've said, hey, feel free to drop your comments below. This is absolutely meant to be a collaborative project, and I welcome any and all feedback now and throughout the process. That's the only way you design something really good. So there you go. That's the video. Thank you very much for watching. Look forward to that release. I'm very excited about it. We got some very fun stuff planned. I hope you will enjoy it. I hope you'll give it a chance, a play, whatever, and see if you like it too. And as always, we'll see you next time.